Hello again. Unit 8 is all about having discussions, agreeing but mostly disagreeing. It would have been impossible to reach this unit without being exposed to terminology for agreeing and disagreeing. And we've seen many times that disagreeing in English normally means agreeing and then saying but. For example,
yes, but I'm convinced.
The examples in this unit range from informal discussions to formal debates. Let's first of all see how we open a formal discussion or debate. You need to know the correct terminology.
I propose that single-sex education is better than mixed gender because there are fewer distractions.
I support the motion that city centres should be just for pedestrians.
I propose the world should speak the same language.
And now, when you want to introduce a new point, we use terminology to stress our points. Look at the choice of the word absolutely, completely. You can't argue with me.
I'm convinced we can choose a topic we can both agree on for the upcoming debate. Yes, but I'm absolutely certain we have areas of joint interest, like music, sports, or politics. Let's consider human rights and equality. There's bound to be something of joint interest there.
Another point is that a uniform improves the atmosphere as well as the discipline in the school.
Then we have pointers such as secondly, my next point, etc., which makes it easier to follow the argument.
First and foremost, this will simplify our lives.
We all have words and expressions that we overuse. A classic example is when we want to state our opinion. How many times can you say, I think, or in my opinion? Why not try using, as far as I'm concerned?
As far as I'm concerned, I really don't care. Inflated grades are good, but not an inflated figure.
I have my doubts about this. The way I see it, my top priority is student autonomy, my freedom to decide how I want to learn.
And there are many other options. Now, there are terms to show and stress similarity.
If you go along these lines,
or a contrast. Let's see this in action when our students discuss the pros and cons of online learning.
That's less relevant for me. My first priority is to learn in my own time at my own pace.
Instead of saying directly, I don't agree, a softer way is to say, that's less relevant for me. Then we get the standard but as a contrast.
But I like to dress up and go to college. I enjoy student life, going to the library and cafeteria.
Another very popular expression, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, is on the other hand. But our student in his pajamas uses whereas.
Whereas I prefer to stay in my pajamas, sleep in, and enjoy my coffee while listening to the lesson.
A phrase to show a very strong contrast, and in fact the opposite is true, is on the contrary.
On the contrary, I have no interest in any of those over-discussed topics.
We've been so busy arguing in this unit that we rarely agreed.
true,
No one said, I entirely agree with you, but we did have.
you've got a point there.
Now, great words to stress you really agree, or entirely agree, or completely agree, or try using I couldn't agree more. Now, when we want to persuade someone of how right we are, we use expressions to stress that it's common sense, it's common knowledge, everyone knows.
The facts speak for themselves.
But you can't deny that single-sex ed empowers girls, giving them confidence and self-esteem. And have you considered that single-sex schools give a more tailored education?
But you have to admit there are always problems in online learning.
Frankly, I doubt many people agree with you. The truth of the matter is,
Where is your proof?
When you use terms and phrases like these, you're much more forceful in your argument. Now, life isn't just black and white. There's a considerable grey area. Sometimes you can't completely disagree because there may be some truth in what the other person has said. So we have many diverse ways of expressing this.
That's not always the case. I've had really dynamic lecturers who have activated all the students. That might be the case.
that remains to be seen. True, but be honest with me. Would you go to a doctor who had failed his written exams?
There's no denying that, but it's crucial to be able to put what you've learned into practice.
But do you agree?
Not necessarily.
In a formal debate or discussion, it's not enough to present your points clearly and relate to what the other person is saying. You also need to tie up the argument with a persuasive conclusion.
To sum up this debate,
To recap,
to conclude, due to the factors of empowerment and tailored education, please support the motion.
to conclude, I would like to reiterate the importance of reading for developing your imagination.
Now, recap means to go over, and reiterate is to repeat again. Very similar words. And then the final words where you have your last opportunity to convince the audience.
It really all boils down to the integrity of students if they refrain from giving inflated grades. I urge you to vote against the motion.
Now, this is a great expression, I urge you, meaning I encourage you. But a nice way to end a discussion or talk is,
Let me leave you with a final thought.
let me leave you with a final thought. So the final thought I will leave you with is that there are thousands of ways to have a disagreement. Don't you agree? Until next time.